Okay, everyone, we're back with you again for another task on this Toyota. So what we're going to do is the valve cover gasket. Redo these little suckers right here because that's part of it too. I mean, this thing is pretty original, so I think all this, the gasket and all, it's not that it's leaking, but we just want to go ahead and get them redone anyway while we're at this point of taking things apart. So, you know, you'll end up replacing this thing, which, I don't know, actually feels decent. These up here, less decent. But we just want to go ahead and do it. I think it hasn't ever been done. We're at this point, we got the motor pretty well torn apart as far as doing this carburetor swap deal. That'll give us a chance to check the valves, because who knows if those have ever been adjusted or anything else. So really what we got is 4 bolts here that hold the valve cover gasket on. We got to go ahead and undo these other 4 bolts over here, just because of these other components that are screwed in. But we'll get that stuff disconnected, get the valve cover gasket off of here. And then thanks to our O'Reilly's, we've got a new gasket set here. So it comes with these 2 end pieces, and then these are the round ones here. And then that's for the valve cover itself. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, change out those gaskets and adjust the valves. So let me go ahead and get to work on popping all this stuff off so we can look inside of our new to us engine and check the valves. Okay, back at you after I did some work. Still waiting on my son to get out of bed. He worked late, closed last night, so he didn't get home in the bed until late. But anyway, so went ahead and took this off. That just held the throttle cable, which I just moved over here, you know, to the right side. Popped these little brackets off. I didn't have to do that. I could have just pulled the spark plug wires out, but I figured it's just easier to go ahead and pop those off and push those out of the way. So that's that, and got those back. Those are all 12 millimeters that held all that stuff in. That came off. And then these, literally, there's not much torque on these at all. So, like, I barely touched them with a wrench, and then immediately you can just back them out with your hand. So, there you go. That's probably an indication that there might be leaking. I don't know. That's weird. Did not expect that. Anyway, yeah. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of these off and get the valve cover off. All right, everybody. Made a little bit of progress. As you can see, I tried to pull the valve cover off, but it felt like it was still kind of half bolted down, and truthfully, it was by these little rubber stopper things here. So what I found is I had to pry under them a little bit to like bust them loose from the metal, because they were kind of cooked on there, and then basically unscrew them. So they're basically acting like bolts or, you know, nuts that are holding down the valve cover. So once I kind of busted them loose from the metal, which I kind of scarred them up. I tried hard not to, but I got better as I went along, and realized that instead of prying them up and off, twist them. You know, once you get break the bond between the plastic and the valve cover, go ahead and twist them up and off instead of, and use a pair of channel locks if you need to, just grab them. But as you can see, these are the old ones, and these are the new ones. So I think the reason those nuts were so loose when I just barely put a ratchet on and touched it, and they started coming loose, and then I could just unwind them, is because if you look at the thickness of the new ones, which go on like that, these are dirty, so you can't even really tell that there is a piece of metal right here. But you can see those are much thinner and compressed, and they didn't come back out and all that. So I think they are original, as is pretty much everything else on this truck. It's a 55,000 mile truck, so I don't think anybody did much with it the last few years. So anyway, that's that. So now we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this off. I just want to show you my little bit of struggles I had there, but anyway, that seems to be my recommendation. Use a screwdriver or something, or some channel locks or whatever, you can get those busted loose, and then twist them off like a nut, And hopefully now I can pop that off. Let's see. All right, everybody, here we are on this. So I went ahead and pulled all the spark plugs out so I can rotate the motor without having to fight compression. Make sure you also take it out of gear. That's helpful. Otherwise, it's real hard to turn the motor. What we did was turn this until down there. You can see there's a really good video that LCE has, but down there you can see there's marks on the pulley, and then marks on the little thing there. Let me see if I can do some lighting here. There you go. So that's what you're looking for. Get that thing on 0. Take the distributor cap off so you can see when this is on cylinder number 1. So you'll see that the electrode there on the rotor is pointing to that like 10 o'clock position. That's where the number 1 cylinder firing position is. And then that gets you top dead center here on compression stroke for the first cylinder. And then you can see here, see, that's got a little bit of wiggle. And I tested that one, and it's good. This one, there's a little bit of wiggle, but I can't get the feeler gauge in. Then you can also do this intake one, which it has a little wiggle, but not enough. I can't get the feeler gauge in. And then you can do this exhaust, which that one's got a little wiggle too, which tells you it's not under pressure, but it's not enough clearance. So really, that exhaust one is good. Too tight. That one's too tight. And, I'm sorry, that one, number 2 intake, is too tight. Number 3 exhaust is too tight. So those are the ones you can check when the cam's in this position. So we're gonna have to adjust those. So we'll go ahead and work on doing that. And then I'll show you all that. Hopefully my son will be down here in a minute, and we'll show you how we do all of that. All right, everybody, we are jumping in here. I took this one fuel hose off to get it out of the way it was on here. But anyway, so what we want to do, this was too tight when we checked it before with our 8 thousandths. So there you go. Now I loosened the nut, 12 millimeter. Never used so many 12 millimeter bolts in one place. Anyway, this now can go in and out of here because I turned with the flathead screwdriver. I turned it just a little bit, so now it goes in, but I'm getting drag on it. So that's where I want it. Now, if I can just leave that right there. Now I'm going to work on 2 hands so I can do the nut and hold that screw in the right place. So, you know, 3 hands would be great. So again, a 3rd hand would be really helpful. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and tighten this one, and then I'll move over to that side, do the same thing. It's just 12 thousandths. This is 8 thousandths. So we'll do these 2, then we can do this one and that one over there, like I said. So I'm just gonna go ahead and knock those out. All of this really until I'm ready to turn the motor, and I'll show you what we do to get to the number 4 top dead center. Okay, we're back with you. I've adjusted those, got them where they need to be, got them tightened back down. Now we're gonna take this and we're gonna turn the motor with our 19 mil down here 180 degrees. And when we do that, that will now then be on the number 4 position. Or I'm sorry, 360 degrees, not 180. So 360 degrees, come back, and that should be on number 4 position, and then we'll be top dead center on number 4. So let me get that done. Okay, so we turned the motor 360 degrees, lined up our timing mark to top dead center there again. As you can see now, this rotor is over on the number 4 position, and our back cylinder is top dead center right now. So now we get all the ones we didn't get before. So the back 4, and then the exhaust on 2, and the intake on 3. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and get those adjusted. Remember 8 thousandths for your intake side, 12 thousandths for your exhaust side. All right, I'm back with you. Yeah, so really there was only like one that was, which was this number 1 intake was the only one, or exhaust, I'm sorry. Number 1 exhaust, the only one that was within tolerances really. Everything else was too tight. So every single intake one was too tight. Those have all been readjusted. So now the 8 thousandths gives you that right little feel as far as drag, and the 12 thousandths won't go in. And then on the exhaust side over here, they were all too tight except for one. So nothing was loose, everything was tight. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and put all this stuff back together. So we'll go ahead and get the distributor cap back on, spark plugs back in, and get the wires all back on. And then we can move on to getting the valve cover back on after we just make sure the mating surface here doesn't have anything on it, which looks really clean. So we'll probably just wipe it down pretty good and then move on. We can't forget to do our little rubber cam things here. So got to put one in there, and then there's one in the back right there. So we'll get those in as well. Those felt pretty good on the outside, but the inside of them was like, see, that's flexible, but the inside was pretty stiff and hard. Clearly these things look like they're not the worst ever, but they've seen some better days. And in reality, this gasket was seems all right. I mean, it's a little squished, but it's not like super brittle or anything. So anyhow, we'll go ahead and get this new one in and get moving on. All right, so I just got some degreaser and ran along the edge here. There's really nothing. Ran my finger along there. There's no humps and bumps or nothing. Cleaned all the way around. Next thing I did was go ahead and put these in. There's one here and one back there. As you can see, they sit up a little bit. That's because they're new and they're not squished like the old ones. There's flaps, so make sure you get the flap on the inside and the flap on the outside. Don't fold any of those up. And they're the same front and back. So anyway, that's that. Now we'll go ahead and work on getting the new gasket in here, which doesn't look like it's shaped, so we'll just have to like feed it into the groove, and because it doesn't stay the same shape like this one does. But we'll go ahead and do that, and then get this valve cover back on. All right, folks. There's the old one is out, the new one is in. I can definitely tell this sits up a lot higher, and then as I go look at this one, you can see how the side that came out is tall and thin like the other one. And then this other side, I can feel how flat it is, and it's holding its shape and all that. So it's definitely been there a while. I mean, I think it's original probably, but anyway, we're gonna get this new one on here. I did get a little oil out of the top of the motor there on my finger and rub it along this thing, just to help kind of get it in there and all that. Maybe that shouldn't have done that. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what it did. So we're gonna go ahead and get this back on top of the motor, and then work on getting it bolted back down. Okay, so valve cover's back on. Another instance when having a third hand would be nice is to pull that heater hose up out of the way. It looks like you got room, but remember, you got to get over these studs that are sticking out. So if you just have somebody to hold that up for you, make your life a lot easier. You won't have to fight as hard to get this thing back on. But now that it's back on, I checked the gasket, made sure it didn't fall out or none of that. I did have a little bit of trouble with that the first time when I was fighting that dead blasted hose right there. But anyway, so now we got these. They go on this way, the little metal ring up. They just sit down in those holes, and you can see that like helps center the bolt. You can feel that kind of go down into the hole on the valve cover. It helps center everything up. You know, I had it pretty well centered to start with because I was trying to adjust it to make sure it was good. But anyway, make sure those seat down in those little holes like they're supposed to, so you don't crunch that up. And now all we got to do is get the nuts, which are over here. Get these nuts back on here. So I don't know if they're gonna grab right off the bat. They did. Look at that. Just put a little pressure, and they grab. I didn't even have to or do anything crazy. So, yep, that's those two. So let's see if we can go 4 for 4 on these grabbing good and getting you started. Yep. One more is always the last one. I feel pretty good. Yep, there you go. So I'm just gonna tighten those down, and that's pretty much valve cover done. And then I just got to put these pieces that I pulled off on this side. So let me get these tight, and then we'll get all this other stuff positioned and tighten everything up. Okay, everybody, here we go. So what I did, I went ahead, put that back, finger tight, put this piece back after I plugged in all the spark plugs. So that holds that bolt right there. And you got your throttle cable, put that back, and then this one more wire holder for your spark plug. So all that stuff's finger tight. So now I've got those 4 bolts, and then I got the 4 bolts to hold the valve cover down. All of those are 12s. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and work our way around. I'm sure there's a torque setting I need to look up for these bolts that hold down the valve cover, so I'll probably do that too. However though, my torque wrench flooded in the hurricane and I haven't bought another one. So I think we're just going to get it good enough tight, at least for now, and we can always go back and check that later and see what happened, but we'll get it in about the ballpark. Okay, I know it doesn't look much different, but I tightened all those bolts down. I did do a quick bit of research, and I saw that on these, it's like 5 pounds or something like that. It's not supposed to be much. So basically, I'm just kind of like twisting it left-handed, not using any of the ratchet itself, just kind of doing that. And then I'll go back and double check them just to make sure nothing else. But yeah, 5 foot-pounds. So you can't even really use a torque wrench on that unless you got some special torque wrench. But anyway, so those are hand tight, not using any of the actual ratchet, just kind of hand tightening with the almost with the socket. But that's that, all done. New valve cover gasket is in there. We adjusted the valves because all of them were too tight except for one, and that finishes that up. So now we can move on to part 2 of our carburetor intake install and get that moving along. But yeah, I don't know what sequence this will come out, so this may be first, this may be in the middle of the 2 other ones, could be at the end, not sure, we'll figure it out. But if you subscribe down there, you can definitely make sure you come back and see whatever happens next. Got to get this thing running, driving, all that good stuff, so that we can go ahead and do something with that new boat right over there. Yep, that's our new skiff that we picked up. We do still have the center console. It's behind all those trees over there, you can't really see it, but yeah, that's our new skiff we picked up so that we can go run around in the really shallow stuff. Probably get up to Crystal River soon. But anyway, that's what we're doing. Finish this up, and now we'll get ready to put the other stuff back on, like I said. So come back and join us for that.